So just stay tuned. Okay. Diffusion is the process in which particles move from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. Particles are said to diffuse down a concentration gradient. Now it's important to understand diffusion doesn't require any energy, so it's kind of a passive movement that happens. Okay, so as you can see, diffusion is happening here. Diffusion happens in many parts of the body as well, including the alveoli. And diffusion is a very important process because it also happens with neurotransmitters when they are passing within the synapse. So kind of an important process that occurs in the human body. Okay, the bigger the difference in concentration, the steeper the concentration gradient. This means diffusion happens faster. In diffusion, molecules go down the concentration gradient, no energy required. Okay, so it's kind of easy to go from there to there, but you'll understand there's one type of transport in substances that's called active transport, where you go against the concentration, but we'll talk about that later. Osmosis. Now, osmosis is the second type of transport in substances that you need to know. Osmosis is the movement of water particles or molecules from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration across a semi-permeable membrane. Now, osmosis is a special type of diffusion that happens with water. Now, there is a required practical on this, and we'll talk about that. Okay, this is the practical that you need to do. The practical is with potato chips, but here I've used an example of a gummy bear. Now, let's have a look at this. Beaker A, gummy bear in 100% water solution. Beaker B, gummy bear in 100% salt solution. Now, I'd like you to pause the video. Can you tell me which potato chip, right, or in this case, gummy bear, would increase in mass? In which beaker would it increase in mass? A or B? And can you tell me why? Now, you can pause the video, have a go. Now, as you guys know, this is really, really important. Osmosis is the movement of water from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. So can you tell me which has more water inside the beaker? Absolutely, it is indeed. It's A. So what's going to happen is the water on the outside is going to move to the inside of the gummy bear. Therefore, water is going to move from a high concentration from the outside to a low concentration within the gummy bear. Now, first of all, it's important to understand where's there more water. Obviously, there's more water on the outside because it's a 100% water solution. So it moves from a high concentration to a low concentration, therefore the gummy bear will increase in mass. On the other hand, there's more water in the gummy bear in beaker B, which means the gummy bear will therefore become what we will say is lose water, and therefore will lose mass. Now, in your exams, they may ask you about potato chips. The concept is exactly the same. It's just they're using different substances. Now, you can pause the video. Let's see if you can do this task. Task 1, part 2. Here I have a red blood cell. As you can see, the red blood cell, there are blue small circles. They are representing water. These represent sugar. Okay. If you can look at the red blood cell, do you think that will increase or decrease in mass according to what we've already known or what we know about osmosis? You can pause the video and have a go at this. You can draw the diagrams here and do the description at the bottom. Now, let's have a look. This red blood cell would become smaller or will lose mass, or what we say would become plasmalized. Why? Well, the reason is because there's more water on the inside of the red blood cell than the outside of the sugary solution present. Therefore, this red blood cell will lose mass and it will become smaller. And like I said, it's all about the solution that you insert the red blood cell in. So there's the answers there. As you can see, I will be drawing this smaller, therefore will become plasmolized. And the reason why is because this will cause water to move from high concentration from the inside of the cell to the outside, making the red blood cells smaller. On the other hand, in your exams, they could chuck you one of these questions. Look at this. This is the exact opposite. Here we have the red blood cell, but this time we put it into a much more concentrated water solution. This time what would happen to the red blood cell? Pause the video, have a go. I'll go over the answers. This red blood cell will massively increase in size, and what we say will become turgid. And the reason why is because this time there's more concentration of water on the outside rather than the inside. So therefore this water solution over here will go from high concentration to a low concentration within the red blood cell, therefore making the red blood cell bigger, or what we say turgid. Now, last but not least, active transport. What is this? Again and again and again, students get confused with all three of them. Now, it's very important to understand active transport is the movement of particles from a low concentration to a high concentration. This, on the other hand, occurs across a semi-permeable membrane, and it requires energy. The other ones didn't require energy. This one does. Okay, so here's some more information. Right, this occurs in the small intestines, just above the small intestines, where we try to get as much glucose absorbed as possible. It happens within the root hair cells, where sometimes mineral ions like magnesium are left out and they have to be brought in from a low concentration to a high concentration. So this is a very important process. So here's some examples of where it occurs. Now, this is really important, right? It happens in these two major examples, okay? But I want to talk about what is active transport exactly, okay? Here are the answers on where they occur. So, like I said, it occurs in the small intestines and inside the root hair cells. You do need to know this. Like I said, you can pause the video and try to zoom in and look at the answers, but I want to go over exactly what it is, because it's extremely important that we know what it is. I'm just going to go a little bit back and show you one diagram so I can explain to you guys. I said to you that active transport is from a low concentration to a high concentration. I would like you to understand that when you're going from a low concentration to a high concentration, you're going against the concentration gradient. It's imagine this. You are a particle over here. All your mates are over there at the top of a mountain. You are trying to climb a mountain. When you're climbing a mountain, what do you need? You need energy. So it's exactly here. You're going against the concentration gradient. You need energy, and then you will go and you will meet your mates on top of the mountain. It is important to understand it happens from a low concentration to a high concentration, and most importantly, it requires energy, and it's again across a semi-permeable membrane. Now, back to where does it occur? So, it occurs in these two. So the small intestines, what happens in the lumen of the small intestine, sometimes glucose is left out, and what happens is the human body has lots of mitochondria to provide the energy for it to go against the concentration gradient and bring them low amounts or low concentration of glucose inside the small intestines. So why does it do that? So we don't want to waste any of the glucose, and that happens exactly with root hair cells. So root hair cells have got lots and lots of mitochondria, and they would use that to pull in any other type of low concentration amounts of ions, for example magnesium, in order so we don't waste it, because as you know, magnesium is very important for plants. It's required. It actually goes and produces chlorophyll. Okay, so hopefully by the end of today's lesson you have a clean understanding of active transport, osmosis and diffusion. Now I'll show you a quick table here to summarize all the different types. So This one's low to high. Remember, them two are high to low. That one, them two go down a concentration. This one goes against. This happens in liquids and gases. That happens in water, mostly water, and that's with liquids and gases. And at the bottom,